Chapter 3 is the third full-length album from Adelaide, Australia-based doom metal project Solemn Ceremony, and we could qualify that with traditional doom metal, 80s doom metal, certainly influenced by things like Saint Vitus and Reverend Bizarre, as well as, I would say, kind of the first two Pentagram albums at least, and you kind of figure what this sounds like from there. There are certainly a lot of easy comparisons to make between Phil Howlett's vocals and a lot of classic bands that basically evolved the diction and cadence of Scott Rager's in various ways, and he certainly takes it into his own realm in terms of expression and exactly where the cadence falls with the riffs that he writes. But this is a very classic throwback 80s death metal style record, and it comes after more of a psychedelic record that came with Demise previous. So this one is kind of back to the basics. It's some of these were old Lucifer's Fall songs, but that band disbanded, and he kind of reworked a lot of those ideas into this record, and it just so happens this is one of his best releases. So let's get to a clip here and just get a sense for what the record sounds like, and at least get a few seconds of both vocals and riffs and see if those line up. If you're a fan of Die Healing or Day of Reckoning, I think you'll instantly understand why this St. Vitus-esque sound appealed to me. It's one of my favorite bands. One of my favorite memories from discovering metal is the early St. Vitus catalog, and it's an easy connection to make with a band like this. There is certainly more to Solemn Ceremony than that sound, but that really is where we start. These are slower, miserable songs. They're very honest, and in a sense, they're tuneful, but in a classic sense, that it does feel like this band started in 1979, but moved along and pioneered into the 80s. There is that sense of that growth beyond 70s metal, but there is still a rocking touch to some of what he does. It just all comes in slow motion and not in the happiest tone. So there's a lot of grit to this record. There's a lot of real production values in terms of conveying a unique sound without over polishing it or making it something that it's not. It sounds like real guitar effects, real performances, and real spaces that were captured, and I really appreciated that about this record because it gives this an authenticity that it kind of had otherwise in terms of its songwriting. The thing about this record is that it's very focused on what it does, and you either want more variations of that sound or you're ready to move on. And for me, I'm always going to be stuck on these classic types of doom metal because when done well and not exaggerated out of the 80s, they're captivating, and they kind of give an artist like Phil a way to expand their own expression in terms of lyrics and what he puts into these songs, which is very honest. It's very morbid and dark, but also has a little bit of a sense of humor in there if you pay close attention. So there's a lot of personality here, and that's kind of what I'm getting at with why I like this record, is that it feels like Solemn Ceremony have delivered like a sharp product overall. And I hate to use the word product, but it feels like this is one that will most appeal to a general doom metal audience. I think that the cover art is very appealing from Adam Burke, and I think everything from the logo, the visual design, the production values, to the honesty of the lyrics, and even down to the guitar tone, they finally nailed it. I think the last one was kind of bad and digital. This one is very sharp sounding, and so for me, I had a strong connection to this record because it felt like it was a proper, well-curated, kind of throwback sounding record that he makes his own in the process. And a lot of that comes down to a little bit more heavy metal in there. There's a little bit more leads across the board. There's a lot of finer details if you have the time to sit down and give it its due. So for me, that's a great record. I mean, I don't think I've heard a lot of people talking about it or seen it and all that, but this one stood out for me. It's one of the best records of August, and definitely wanted to mention that for people out there. That released on the 2nd. Go check it out yourself, and if you'd like more information, read my review. Was it